And to this very day, this is why we have Sean Proves, God. And Prince of Law said this. He said, people going to come from all over the world to come see us. I ain't won't believe it. But he wasn't lying, God. We got guards from all over the United States that come see us. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and that's a great thing, God. You know what I'm saying? So from there, God, we blew up. But I just want to say, God, when I was young, before I got this knowledge, God, I was a strict 85% of God. I was a Catholic. I didn't believe in none of this. I could care less about none of this. None of this. But when I came over, I came to the father's funeral. When I came to Harlem down and seen him in the funeral home, I seen thousands of guards. I said, wow, this man must be great. I said, wow, God, the whole streets was crowded. Back, nothing but guards from all over. I didn't see that many guards in life. I said, wow. And everybody went to the funeral home. Then from there, Umar was outside. He was telling everybody they had 7 Greyhound buses. And they said, anybody that want to go to the grave site could go. That's right, God. There you go, peace, God. Everybody was out. Even matter of fact, my family had met Allah before I'm the only one in the family that didn't meet Allah. What happened with that was when we got knowledge of self, my older brother got it first. Then my middle brother got Allah me. But then me, I didn't care nothing about it until later on down the line. You know, and then I got it. You know what I'm saying? But back then, my mother, she was upset. My mother had a fit when we came in the house and we was God. My mother had a fit. She said, who is that man? And my brother said, that's Allah. Well, he told us, you know, not to eat no pork. And that's all we did. We eat pork and beans and franks, right? I woke up one morning to eat me some pork and beans and franks. And he said, yo, man, don't eat that because that got some pork in it. I said, man, get out my face. I don't care nothing about that. He said, yo, man, that ain't no good. And my mother was going to send me to the barbershop to get a haircut, me and him. So he said, yo, Ma, it's stink in the house. I'm getting out of here. She said, boy, you better stay up in this house and wait for your brother to take him to get a haircut. He said, Mom, he said, Allah said don't eat no pork. And my grandmother, she said, what? She said, boy, you better go downtown and ask Allah what you going to eat. I said, wow. You know what I'm saying? So I said, wow. And so he ran out there. She said, I'm getting out of the house because it's stink. She said, you better wait for your brother. And then he came back, and we got together and went and got a haircut. But God, back then, what? Pork chops? When we was children, my friends, there was the biggest thing going on. When we outside playing, my man, at 6 o'clock, everybody go upstairs. He said, yo, man, I'm going upstairs to eat me some smothered pork chop with onions. That was the thing. We said, oh, man, like we missing something like that. Can I come to your house and eat? But we didn't know no better, God. I didn't know no better. I was a straight 85%. And if you ask a lot of guards how they got knowledge of self, God, you would be surprised how they got it. You understand me? And then from there, God, it just blew up, God. And knowledge of self to me was a very beautiful thing, God, because it opened up my whole world, God. I was totally blind, deaf, and dumb. And then also in Harlem Prep, God, we had an African teacher named Mr. George Simmons. He's the one that really, really impressed me because he spoke about black history before America. He was very deep in God. He said we were the first people to eat with forks and knives. Back in the 60s, I'm talking 62, 63, 64, we didn't know nothing about that. As a people, we were blind, deaf, and dumb. You know what I'm saying? Straight 85s. So to say that, I said, wow, because God, I always thought that we came from cavemen. I never knew that. And then when I read the culture degree of the 1 to 14, then I said, wow, we was great. We ran the devil over the Hot Arabian Desert to caves of West Asia, as they now call it Europe. You know what I'm saying? So God, I said, wow. So matter of fact, another thing, my brother used to study. We lived in the same room, right? He used to study his lessons, but he kept it on the pillow. Now me, I could care less. I'm on this side, he's on this side. Every night he reads it. Every night. So I was curious. I was wondering what he reading because he never studied like that in his life. I said, wow. So he kept studying. So now this went on for a good little while. We didn't even talk about it. And then one night I decided I want to know what he was reading, God. I went and picked up his pillow. Bang. Seen the 1 to 40. I read the 1st degree, and the 8th degree is what got me. What makes rain, hail, storm, and earthquakes, God? I was hooked because, remember, I was young too. Okay? So at 85, we was taught that when it snowed, God was beating the pillow and feathers coming out. That's all I knew. You know what I mean? And when the buildings we started breaking it down, I said, oh, wow, you know what I'm saying? I said, oh, wow. So I was very proud. And then I told my old earth, I said, Mom, I said, all they're about is history and science. I said, that's all it is. Because she had a problem with it. My mother was really upset about it, to the point where, as she said, who is that man? My mother came down to the street academy to meet all up. That's right. That's right. He took her in the back, either here or in the back, and they sat down and talked. And he built with her. When she came home, my mother said, wow. And when he got assassinated, my mother said, wow. Just when I was beginning to understand him. Because she had took a liking to him after that. Because she had a problem with us saying we was God. She had a problem with we stopped eating pork. So we stopped eating the food that she bought and it stayed in the refrigerator. She had a fit. So she said, I'm going to stop buying pork. So eventually my mother stopped buying pork because she knew we wouldn't eat it. So then we began to eat better and better and better. And then I learned from the guards and whatnot, you know, what to eat, what not to eat. And also at the 85, God, they had an 85 in my neighborhood named Ham. This is strange. His name Ham. I told him I was God and everything, and I don't eat no swine or none of that. He said, really? He said, yeah. So I was eating a cake. He said, we eating a cake there? I said, yeah. He said, you know what's in there? I said, nah. He said, see, you got to read the label. He took me in the store. He picked up a cupcake or something, right? Because we was eating cupcakes, Twinkies, you know, all that. So he said, listen, Lee, you got to read the package. He said, if it don't say vegetable oil, he said, ain't no good. I was, wow. I was hurt because I stopped eating crumb cakes. I stopped eating Twinkies. I stopped eating donuts and all that. Because I kept reading the names on the pack. I said, wow. It got to, I said, damn, I can't eat nothing. But eventually, God, I got adjusted to that. It's just like today, God. I tell the brother, you know, I don't eat no meat. What? Well, hold on. If you can stop eating pork, why you can't stop eating meat? What's the problem? You see what I'm saying? Oh, man, come on, man. You see what I'm saying? So, again, we know too, vegetables and fruits are the greatest, you know, vitamins you can get in the world. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I started doing. And then, God, another thing. Me and the God, we going to Harlem Prep, Prince of Law. He went to go, looked like he was going to go get a sausage from the, you know, the Frank stand, man. He said, yo, let me get one of those. He said, but with no Frank. I said, wow. He said, give me anything else but the Frank. The dude dressed the whole bun up with vegetables and everything else except for Frank, and he paid the man and ate it right there. I said, wow, man, the God is serious about this here. And he just said, nah, he didn't get down like that. So me and Prince of Love from the desert, we got so tight, God, that he would come to Pelon with me and teach at Pelon with me. Then from Pelon, then when we got to school, we go back to Harlem Prep. Then I go out to the desert with him. This is when we started teaching out in the desert because you gotta say he lived out there. So we went out to the desert and started teaching. I mean, God, it was dry too out there. And we started building and teaching, God. All of a sudden, we would go to parks. We played basketball. Prince of Law look on the basketball. He said, I'm going to teach that brother there. He said, I'm going to get that brother right there. I'm going to teach that brother right there. The next week, all of them say they was God. That's right. Prince of Law taught he taught a God named Just Allah from the desert, if you remember him. And then he had his brother Allah Love that was teaching with just us three. Prince of Law, me, and Allah Love. We went from neighborhood to neighborhood to neighborhood. We went to 72 Park. We went to 40 projects. We taught there first. That's when we had our first parliament and 40 projects, God. That's right, about maybe 13 of us. And then after that, God just started spreading like wildfire. Just started spreading. And then like maybe another month I come out there, it was more guards, more and more. And every time I would come out, I would meet new guards that I never knew before. I said, well, what's your name? The brother said, peace, God, peace. I said, wow. And God, later on, I heard too that y'all had a library that everybody used to go to that I didn't know nothing about till that was later on down the line. But a lot of mathematics, matter of fact, I taught him, I brought him to the desert. Because me and Prince Elijah wrote it. I brought him to the desert with me. And God, we just started teaching strong, God. That's all we did, man. I had a pleasure teaching, God. It was beautiful, man. I met beautiful people teaching. I mean, God, we went all out, God. You know what I'm saying? It was a beautiful thing. I met beautiful people, God. We had wonderful times, God. You know what I'm saying? Building. And a lot of mathematics ended up staying out there. And then, see, another thing, God, we believed in having more than one earth, period. A lot of mathematics had about 3 earths. I had about 2 earths. Another guy had 3 earths, God. That's how we was rolling. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we taught. And we lived it. To this very day, the God at least got about 15 children from 3 different earths. You know what I'm saying? So, God, that's how we was rolling. But he ended up staying out there. He met a sister at a parliament, and they started building. He said that he made his whole family out there. And that's where y'all start hearing a lot of mathematics, a lot of mathematics, because he taught. And another thing, when we learned 120, God, I had a lot of plus lessons that nobody had. I had a lot of plus. I had a lot of world manifest. I had a lot of 360. I had Yaku's history. I had dimensions. You know what I'm saying? A lot of mathematics. I told him to learn 120. He thought I meant to learn the plus lessons. God learned Allah's 360 word for word. He learned Yaku history word for word. He learned a lot. God, he was so flamboyant. God, he was like a walking, high explosive scientist. God, that's how we spoke. We was like damn near like superheroes in the neighborhood. Everybody liked us. They said, wow, they just stand at us and just look at us. God, I used to have ciphers standing around me while I built. In Pinon, especially in Pinon. You know what I'm saying? Everybody used to sit down. I used to go on Pinon, on University Avenue. They had some benches. I'd come up on University Avenue and just sit down. Everybody sit down and say, yo, God, what you got new to say today? I said, take away the wicked from before thy king, and his throne shall be established in righteousness. And I sat down. They said, woo, woo, like woo, 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 God. I said, yo, these are grown men and other men. So they would ask me questions, God. I just started dropping it, God. And from that point on, God, I started teaching. And I taught a lot of brothers that I did not know. Just by building and teaching, God. You have some guys right now that say, Allah Ragene taught me. But I spoke, I used to just build, and you would just happen to be around. You see what I'm saying? In my neighborhood, God, we took over Davidson Avenue and Pinon in the Bronx. I started teaching there, just me and a lot of mathematics. There's some more guards came from Medina that might just move to the Pinon. Then you had other guards coming from all over. Then you had guards from the desert. Then Prince Allah ended up moving from the desert to Pinon, right down the block from me. You know what I'm saying? So, God, we had the magnetic so strong, God, that we draw guards from all over to Davidson Avenue in the Bronx, Pinon, God. We had that locked down, God. We took care of the babies. When they came from school, God, we would make sure they get across the street safe and sound. We had a young lady came back and thanked us. She said, who walked my child home? I said, it was me. She said, I thank you very much. And she invited me to dinner. God, we took care of our whole neighborhood, God. And you couldn't walk through there disrespecting nobody. We had it locked down, God. Anything you want to know, you come see us. You know what I'm saying? And we respected the whole community. The community respected us, God. It was beautiful. Davidson Avenue in the Bronx, God. Anybody that hear this tape that know about the Davidson Avenue, they will verify this, God. We didn't have no nonsense, none of that, and we built, God. And it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I mean, it was just a joy, God, to me, man. I had pleasure each and every day waking up and teaching. To this very day, God, I have a joy, God, you know what I'm saying? Being around positive gods that's building, God, because that's what it's all about. So if I'm a builder, all I want to be around is another builder. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And nothing else, G-O-D, nothing else. Because if you building, I want to be down with you. You know what I'm saying? We can build together. What you want to do. You know what I mean? If we're going to build a house, you get the bricks, I help put the cement up. I help, put the plumbing together. But we're going to build, God. We're going to build a house. And that's where the term build come from. Me and Prince Allah used to say that. He said, people would say, what you doing, God? He said, I'm building. In school, the teacher asked him that. She said, what are you doing? He said, I'm building. She said, what do you mean by building? Because they was thinking about building a building. Are you building a building? He said, no, I'm building my nation. I'm building the babies up. I'm building them up to be great builders. So I'm teaching the builders to be builders. And they said, why? And they respected us. And furthermore, too, God, in Harlem Prep, God, they gave all of us our diplomas in our government name and our righteous name. They had big respect for us. Big respect. And we had our graduation on 125th Street and 7th Avenue. That's right. Ossie Davis came. Ruby D came. The mayor came. We had pictures in the school at one time until, they're no longer here. But yeah, God, we had beautiful time, God. Harlem Prep was the greatest school in the world to me because I had dropped out, God, and I knew I needed my education, so I went there. That was the beautifulest school in the world to me. They allowed you to be free. We could choose our classes and different things of that nature, God. I got in tight with my biology teacher because that was my major. I love that. So he was real cool, God. We had teachers that was down to earth, that was real, God. That was the greatest school in the world for people, to get their education and keep it moving, God. And that's what we did. So Harlem Prep was like a launching pad for me, God. You know what I'm saying? We all went to college too. Yes, it did. You know what I mean? So, what else would you like to know?
Okay, Allah Ragene, what education for the children and stuff like that to forge the way for the future? What do you have to say for the children of the world with education and to make the world better?
Peace, God. That was our like our theme, education. Because Prince of Law, that's all we talked about was education, God. You even had gods who changed their name to Allah Education. You know what I'm saying? That's how strong we was teaching about education, to the fact that, God, I feel as though all the young children need to be educated while they're young. They said, don't wait till they get grown to teach them. Get them while they're young. And then in my lessons it say, well, they were made blind, deaf, and dumb when they were babies. So therefore we have to go back through the babies to undo what the devil has done. And that's by educating our young and helping them to rise to be the best and the greatest that they could be, because we say the cream rise to the top. So, I mean, the sky's the limit. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm about teaching our children to take up different trades that we're going to all need one day, God, to get a trade so that they could have this for life. You know what I'm saying? And that we can all come together and build a positive nation and to be successful in all aspects, God. So I truly believe that the young should be the best in school, because that's how I was taught. Whatever you go be, they say be the best. So that's what I believe in, God. All right?
Thank you.
Peace. Peace to the gods and the nation of the gods and earth. Peace.